Hi stock investors, JJ here, welcome back. Well, today we're going to get into which super investors bought Alibaba stock and other Chinese stocks during the past quarter. The 13F filings are out so we can see what these investors have been buying. It's one of my favorite times of each quarter to see what they've been buying. I'm going to do a number of these videos, but let's get straight into Alibaba first. So we can see on Dataroma here the number of buys and adds for the 6 months so far for this year. The buys for Alibaba are pretty high. That's actually 17th out of all the companies. That have been 8 buys by super investors for the first 6 months. We can see the companies there that are up the top: Microsoft and Apple, Alphabet, all the usual suspects, Berkshire Hathaway, Adobe, Starbucks, Uber, Alphabet, Disney, Visa, CarMax, a lot of well-known companies there. But Alibaba, Chinese company, the first Chinese company in that list. Let's move on. These are the super investors that own Alibaba. There's 9, ownership count 9. Michael Burry up the top with 21.26% of his US portfolio. This is only US holdings. He may hold others outside the US. And he probably has cash on the sidelines too, because the way that he's been talking over the past few years, I don't think he's fully committed at this point. And David Tepper reduced a little bit, 6.6% in that quarter for Alibaba. Samantha McLemore is 2.78% of her portfolio. We'll have a look at this if you're not familiar with her work. It's 14.74% she added there. And Prem Watsa, all these investors here holding. Guy Spear, he's known for not doing much, just holding long term. Stephen Romick, 0.26 of the portfolio. Francis Chow, and the other super investor that's added, there's Howard Marks from Oak Tree Capital Management. It's not necessarily him, but his company. Same with all these funds, not necessarily the investor themselves. Christopher Davis there, last on the list. So a bit more in depth, Michael Burry at the top of the list. Let's see what he's been up to in this quarter. We can see Alibaba Holdings there added 24% with 155,000 shares, with really only a value of 11.1 million. So not really a massive holding there. He has a number of other buys for, which I believe is fintech company, Molina Healthcare, Baidu, the other Chinese stock that he's added to significantly, 87.5% in that quarter he's added to, which is 12.36% of his current holdings there. And JD as well was reduced 30%. So a number of Chinese stocks there, but reducing JD, which is a competitor to Alibaba. I won't go into the rest of those because we want to focus on Chinese stocks. Now, if we go into Samantha McLemore's portfolio from Patient Capital Management, good name there, Patient, if you're a long-term investor. And up the top there's Amazon. So it's reducing some of these top positions a little bit, and Nvidia reducing just a fraction. But if we go down the list here, we see Alibaba adding, which is 2.78% of the US portfolio. All of these are pretty evenly spread, just Amazon at the top with 6.48. Moving on, Howard Marks, which is Oak Tree Capital Management, not necessarily his decision to buy, but he has talked about being interested in Chinese stocks because when he hears that something's uninvestable, which is something that people have been saying over the past couple of years, really, that's when he starts to get interested as a value investor, going in for bargains when things are hated, unloved, as Monish Pabrai would say. Howard Marks has also said that. I've done a video where he did say that he looks for things that are hated. 32% of that top one. That's a very big percentage of the portfolio there. A lot of conviction, but we'd have to go down here. JD has caught my eye there. So that's Chinese stocks. I've added 27% to that during that quarter. And we go down here, a number of stocks. Why? That's also a Chinese stock here. I'm just looking for things that catch my eye from China. And we can see Alibaba's way down here at only 0.17%, just adding a fraction in that quarter there. They do have quite a lot of stocks in their portfolio too, and they do specialize in finding those hated, unloved stocks. Moving on to David Tepper, a really high-profile investor who's done well over the last decade or more, outperformed the market. We can see that Alibaba's his top holding at 12.24%. He's reduced 6.67% just in that quarter. Quite a lot of reductions there from those big caps, mostly big tech, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, the big ones reduced reduced in that quarter, taking some money off the table there. Oracle as well. Pinduoduo, another Chinese stock, at 7.6% reduction, and that's around 4% of the portfolio, a decent allocation there. Going down the list, we'll see if we can see any more Chinese stocks in here. Baidu catches my eye at 2.33%, again reduced by 7.5%, and down further JD, adding 18% to that during the quarter at 1.8% of the US portfolio. It's a big portfolio at over $6 billion. Alibaba, a decent percentage of David Tepper's Appaloosa management portfolio still, and reducing only a bit. Not adding to it, but not reducing much either. Now we have Prem Watsa, who's sometimes called the Warren Buffett of Canada. They have not bought or sold Alibaba, just holding onto it at 1.78% of the portfolio there. The top is now Occidental Petroleum, a number of investors adding to that or holding that now that Warren Buffett is so interested in it. It's probably got quite a lot to do with it, but that's another story for another time. But it's pretty top heavy around these top 3 holdings, top 4 holdings really, and then it goes down the list, and Alibaba under 2%, but holding it, not selling it. Guy Spear, Monish Pabrai's friend, also holds Alibaba, has done for some time, has done nothing with it during that quarter, just holding it at 1.3% of the portfolio. It's pretty top heavy portfolio again, with Berkshire Hathaway, American Express, Bank of America, and MasterCard and Micron rounding out at 10% or more of the portfolio. Berkshire Hathaway nearly 22% of the portfolio at this point, but he's known for holding for a long time. Not a lot of activity. I've noticed that he is collecting quite a few stocks, and this is only the US holdings. I haven't looked at the international ones, but I heard him talk about Indian stocks, and he has added the coal stocks that Monish Pabrai owns, or some of them there too, so he's obviously been convinced. I heard him talk about him debating with Pabrai about whether to hold coal in the portfolio or not. Obviously, he's been convinced by Monish about that, but he does hold Alibaba down there at 1.3%. It is the only Chinese stock that he owns at this point that we know of. Stephen Romick, who I must admit I'm not familiar with, does hold Alibaba there. Quite a few stocks, 56 stocks, $6 billion portfolio. We have to go down quite far to find Alibaba. It's down the bottom there at only 0.26% of the portfolio, so definitely not a huge allocation there. And Francis Chow Associates with 30 stocks there. Again, Berkshire Hathaway featuring there, nearly 40% of the portfolio up there in Alphabet. So usual suspects, Apple as well. So liking the big techs, these investors. But to find Alibaba, we have to go right down the bottom at 0.18% of the portfolio. So not a huge allocation there. Not doing anything with it though, not selling or buying, just holding it. Christopher Davis here from Davis Advisors in Q2, 102 stocks. A big portfolio there for 17 billion. It's a big fund as well. And Alibaba is about halfway down here at 0.07. Biggest there is Meta and Capital One Financial at closer to 10%. So really not a lot of conviction there, not a lot of allocation to Alibaba. Now let's just check the Alibaba share price while we're at it. Year to date, it's actually up 12.24, so not doing too badly compared to the S&P 500, which is on 18.25. It's been on an uptrend since April, really. Will it continue? We've just had earnings. I'll put a link to that earnings video in the description. If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. I went through the earnings. Not so great, but they are doing buybacks, a lot of buybacks, increasing amount of buybacks, eating their own shares, which should help the share price over time, you would think. That's not investment advice, and I don't know. It's not necessarily the case, but if they keep doing that, just buying back, if they continue to have a lot of cash, which they do, around $55 billion in cash, and they keep buying back, that should at least help in it. At the moment, perhaps seems to be, unless there's other factors going on. By the way, if you got value out of this episode so far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button to help the algorithm to spread it to more people. That would be great. Thanks. And I want to tell you about ShareSite. I have a special offer for my viewers for ShareSite here. I'll put a link to this landing page in the description. Go and check this out. What is ShareSite? It's a portfolio tracking and reporting tool that over 400,000 investors worldwide wide trust, including me. To see your performance, your true performance over time, there's a video on this page if you want to go to see what it's all about. As I said, there's a link in the description. Also, don't forget about the Art of Value Patreon. There's exclusive videos building up there, my weekly investing updates up to 30, and the stock analysis secret source modules I'm doing. I've just done another one about stock analysis right from the beginning if you want to be involved in that. So the Patreon's just $5 a month. You can binge watch it for a month if you want to. You can also join for free over there and get the public videos ad-free. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to put a link on screen if you're watching on YouTube to a video that YouTube thinks that you should watch. And thanks for your company today, and I will see you in the next one.